Very interesting acquisition for the New England Patriots yesterday, signing former NFL MVP Cam Newton to a one-year, $1.1 million contract with up to around $8 million in incentives. Bradley, what do you think of Cam Newton being Tom Brady's replacement after 20 long seasons with the Patriots?
Well, first of all, I thought it was very interesting. The reports came out that the Patriots and the Browns were basically the two only teams interested in Cam Newton. But I was absolutely stunned when the Patriots signed him yesterday because, first of all, I thought this is like one of those guys Bill Belichick would stay away from. He's kind of been a diva, kind of a head case in the past, not that Antonio Brown level that Belichick dealt with last season, but something close to that, But also, the second thing with Cam Newton is, and I've said this before, he's not the MVP Cam Newton that we saw in 2015 with the Panthers. He's been battling injury. His accuracy's taken a hit. Not that he was ever that accurate. He can't run like he used to. All these different factors. And that's why I was also shocked with the Patriots signing of him. Because personally, I thought they were going to roll with Jarrett Stidham. I thought they liked what they had in Stidham. Maybe he wasn't quite ready yet, but there was something there. And now we see them signing Cam Newton. And honestly, I'm questioning the move a little bit because I understand they want that veteran, maybe help Stidham, maybe compete this year, draft another guy next year. Stidham's not the guy. Who knows? But I just don't think Cam Newton is what he used to be. And I'm questioning how much leverage he really has in that Patriots quarterback room now.
I personally think, I like this signing for the Patriots, and I think one thing before we even get into the football X's and O's of it is this shows that Bill Belichick is the greatest general manager in the history of American team sports. And the reason I say that is, first of all, he is. I don't think there's much of a debate. And the reason I say that is because yesterday the Patriots got fined $1.1 million for illegally filming the Cincinnati Bengals
Well, that
sideline.
too. I wasn't even going to get into that.
And they signed Cam Newton, a former league MVP, for less than that. If that doesn't say something about the kind of general manager he is, I don't know what does.
But it also shows maybe there's a reason the other teams weren't so interested in Cam Newton.
Well, I think that's because of injury. And now let's get to the football perspective of it. When Cam Newton was last seen healthy, I believe in the 2017 season, under Norv Turner as his offensive coordinator and Ron Rivera as his head coach, he had a 6-2 record, and he was completing around 67% of his passes, which is a career high for him. I think he's normally around 60. So he was a very above average passer of the football the last time we saw him truly healthy. But the problem is been his health. And in fact, I think we did a segment on him last regular season, if Cam Newton would ever be the same. And I believe what I said was, I think I could see Cam Newton being a 10-6 or 11-5 quarterback and taking his team to the playoffs. But do I think Cam Newton's going to win a Super Bowl? No, I do not. But now, with this signing, I'm not saying it makes me think Cam is going to win a Super Bowl, but I certainly think his odds are a hell of a lot better by joining the New England Patriots in that system.
That's true. I mean, anyone joins the Patriots, their Super Bowl odds shoot up. But, Cam Newton, I still think he's just not the guy he used to be, and it kind of irritates me when the sports media jumps on this train and the Patriots sign him. I mean, granted, Cam Newton's a huge name and the Patriots are, well, the Patriots, but, the sports media jumps on this like, oh, the Patriots are now Super Bowl contenders. Like, I just don't think so. And I said in that segment last year, you're absolutely right. We did that segment, but I said if Cam Newton wants to be successful in this league from now on, he's going to have to try to do his best to turn into like a pocket passer. He's not a mobile quarterback, and he's definitely not kind of Lamar Jackson-esque like he used to be. He's going to have to try to become a pocket passer, and what we've seen from Cam, it just hasn't shown he can do that. And with this signing, I mean, maybe it's like you want the veteran to teach Stidham how to do things, or you want someone to win you games this year and draft a quarterback next year. And we all know Belichick has some, subconscious, secondhand motivation to this, but I'm honestly more confused than excited about it.
I understand where you're coming from. Now, let's break this down for a second. So, when Cam was in Carolina, one of the reasons I think he was getting injured so much was the lack of protection. I think the best offensive line he had there in his entire career was Ryan Khalil, who I think retired before the end
That's
of
true,
Cam's
but
tenure.
when he scrambled, he didn't protect himself either.
Fair
So,
enough.
2 points
Fair
there.
enough. But let's look at this Patriots offensive line. They still have David Andrews, the anchor. They have Joe Tooney. They have Shaq Mason, Marcus Cannon, Isaiah Wynn. That's a very, very solid offensive line.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. One thing Cam has had his entire career is a safety blanket and a security blanket and tight end in Greg Olsen. The tight end in New England is Matt LaCassie. Do you know who that is?
He caught a few passes last year.
Exactly. And Tom Brady last year, one of the reasons I personally believe, yes, Tom Brady's declined, but one of the reasons I believe last year he didn't have more success was the fact that he was bereft of weapons. In Cam's defense, I think there is some potential because they now, with last year, N'Keal Harry's likely going to be coming back from injury.
Yeah.
They brought in Mohamed Sanu. They still have Julian Edelman. They brought in Marquise Lee this offseason. So I think it'll be, and they still have Sonny Michel and James White out of the backfield. So I think it'll be an interesting experiment. And you just said he needs to turn into a bit of a pocket passer just based on his injury. I don't think there's a better coordinator than Josh McDaniels in the NFL that can guide him in that direction.
Mm-hmm. And Cam Newton going to the Patriots, it's almost like Teddy Bridgewater going to the Saints, and playing those 5 games, kind of reinventing himself. So this is Cam Newton's chance. He's on a 1-year deal, mostly incentives-based. This is his chance to reinvent himself. And quite frankly, he's in the best place to do that. And New England is also arguably in need of his talents. I don't think he's so talented anymore, but we'll see. And I also trust McDaniels and Belichick to kind of figure it out and make it work.
I agree with you 100%. And last point, this is me personally. I've heard a lot of buzz about this in the last couple days since he signed. I personally think Cam's going to win the starting job. I do. I know it's a competitive quarterback room right now with Jarrett Stidham, Brian Hoyer as well. But if you think about it, Brian Hoyer's a journeyman. And what he's been known to do for the last few years is take that 100-yard jog with Tom Brady before warm-ups.
Yeah.
Jarrett Stidham, when last seen in an NFL uniform, threw a pick-6 against the Jets. Although he was an excellent player, one of the top high school recruits in the country, went to Baylor. They had a scandal there. Then he transferred, had an excellent career at Auburn. But he hasn't done really anything in the NFL other than the preseason so far to prove himself. And Cam Newton's a former MVP. I think he's going to win the job.
I mean, former MVP, yeah. But honestly, I think Stidham's kind of underrated. You watch him in the preseason last year. There's certainly some potential there. And unfortunately, his first regular season pass was a pick-6. And it was a terrible pass too. Yeah. But it's just unfortunate that he doesn't get the respect I think he deserves. But will Cam Newton win the starting job? I mean,
it's up in the air, but I think yes.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but I wouldn't count Stidham out to maybe take over halfway through the season or something crazy like that either. I mean, maybe this is just that veteran coming in to show the young guy the ropes. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.